That's all facts, no cap. And I said what I said. Don't be. Forgiveness is spiritual, not physical. And it's so necessary. We got to learn how to give up our right to be offended. We got to give up our right to be offended, y'all. Like, this really checking me. Because I'm going to be real transparent with y'all, which I am all the time. I'll tell you about myself, because forgiveness is something that I am working on in myself as a Christian woman, and just as a woman in empowerment as well, and a woman in leadership. I'm a mentor, so many things, so many hats that I wear. It's just not becoming for who I am. It doesn't mesh well. It contradicts my purpose. I have to learn to get over this hurdle. So of course, y'all know I'm praying about it, but I'm a human being, and I'm from the hood. So, you know, where I'm from, you talk shit, you get hit. And I'm big one. Once you cross me, you lost me. However, I had to realize and really think about this. I have to give up my right to be offended. We have to give up our right to be offended, because a lot of us struggle with this forgiveness piece. I'm not the only one. I'm one of the ones that's gonna be real about it, but I'm not the only one that struggles with this. And when I realized, wow, you really do have to give up your right to be offended. And it's not a physical thing. Because a lot of times we think we can forgive a person if they would just apologize, or if they would just admit that they were wrong. And we also know that some people you're never going to get an apology from. You'll be waiting to the ends of the earth for that. They're never going to see where they did you wrong. Some people will never even realize that they were wrong for whatever it is that they might have done to you, or whatever the case may be. And you still have to learn how to forgive that person. Yes, you still have to learn how to forgive that person. And it can be really, 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 really hard. But if you think about it, it's not a physical thing. For real. Because them physically saying they're sorry or whatever will not take back what they said or did in the first place. So why do you feel like that's going to give us some peace if they understand where we were coming from? Because a lot of us, we fight to be right. We fight to be right. We talk a lot without listening to understand. We listen to respond. That's where that poor communication comes in, because we feel like we got to fight to be right all the time. But we also feel like we got to fight to be offended. Like, we feel like we have the right to be offended. Sometimes you have to humble yourself and ask yourself, well, who the hell am I? Who am I? Miss T, you ain't nobody. I gotta say that. Like, I ain't nobody. Who am I? Plus, the Lord I serve went through a whole lot when he walked this earth. So, I mean, who am I to think that I have a right to withhold forgiveness from somebody, as if offending me is that bit high and mighty? People are just people. I offend people, and I definitely want them to forgive me. I definitely want God to forgive me, and forgive me for a lot of things, and let me up through the gates. When he decides he about to head on out, I want him to come back and be like, shorty, I got you. You know what I'm saying? I want that. But I can't get that if I don't give it to other people and extend that to other people. Who do I think that I am? Who do you think that you are? Withholding that forgiveness from your father. Who you think you is? Withholding that forgiveness from your best friend, from your mom. Who do you think you are? We really got to reflect on it, because we got to give up our right to be offended. People are just people, and people make mistakes. And like I said, I'm going to be real transparent with y'all. Like I said, I'm working on this. And I'm really working on it. When I say I be reflecting on myself and working on me, I really do it. So I'm working on this. And like when you go and ask God for something, he got to put you to the test. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking, to give me the strength to forgive. Give me that power. So, somebody who I used to be close friends with, who I'm no longer close friends with, but I just couldn't stand her. Every time I thought about her, I felt like pushing her down the steps and beating her to the white meat. Can't stand her, But I used to pray about that, because I didn't want that up in me. I don't want that up in me. Oh, for real. But like I said, I'm from, I want to get like that. But I can't be like that. My purpose and that kind of person do not go together. So It's really real how a few weeks ago, out of nowhere, it's real, y'all. It's really real. This really can happen. I was having literally a out-of-body experience almost. I was on a plane going out of town for business. And my mouth, I began to pray for this particular girl. Out of my heart, I began to pray for her. And in my head, I'm going back and forth with myself as I'm praying. In my head, I'm like, is you really praying for this? She was dead wrong. I'm going back and forth with myself, my head and my heart, because my heart genuinely poured out prayer for her. That's how I know. Like, the God I serve really blew my mind, because I was like, you really doing something. You really up there. I know you really exist, because if you can do that for me, if I'm sitting up here praying for somebody that I'm real life, not too long ago wanted to pluck down the steps, that's serious. And it blew my mind. And this is even better. Listen to this. She happened to call me, because I had reached out to her because I thought she did something shady, which I still believe she did it. And most likely, I'm a master's level psychologist. Can't nobody out psychology me. I definitely believe that she did exactly what I think she did. However, it doesn't matter. I still needed to forgive her, and I'm glad that I did. So I reached out to her because I was going to confront her about that. But she never got back to me, so I just, but then she happened to call me. She called me when she was supposed to. When she called me, I had to hold my mule. I prayed before I opened my mouth, talking to her. Good conversation. I had a good conversation with somebody who, not too long ago, I wanted to beat to the white meat. I just didn't even know what I would do if I saw her. You know what I'm saying? Because her mouth was running. That whole street stuff come out for me. It was a great conversation, y'all. And I'm glad I had it. And like I said, I still believe she did the shady shit I think she did. However, it's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. And I really forgive her. I do. And that shocks me. It does. But that's because forgiveness is not physical. Because she didn't quite say she was sorry or anything when we spoke. Because if I had it my way, she just never would have done it. However, and I'm sure vice versa or whatever the case may be, because I'm definitely not like total victim or whatever. However, I'm glad I had that conversation, and now I know it's really not physical. It's not a physical thing. It was because before that conversation happened, I told you I had already started to pray for her out of my heart. Like, that came out of me. It was here. Well, it was here first, and then my head had to catch up, because my head was like, what's going on? Because sis was out of pocket, and we don't do that. But I real life forgave her. I needed to for me. All those sayings, like when people be like, oh, forgiveness is for you and not the other person, it really, really is. I'm a living witness. And also, forgiveness is not physical. So let that go. Let that go thinking you got the right to be offended by somebody, because you don't. Let that go thinking that if they apologize or if they acknowledge that they was wrong, that you're going to feel better. That's a lie. Work on trying to really forgive them in here. Realize that they're just a human being. And just like you want grace when you mess up, and you want forgiveness when you mess up, put yourself in their shoes. That's an empathy thing. I'll teach y'all that another day. If it was you, what you gonna want? And for real, like, if the big dog decide he about to head out right now, what he about to catch you doing that you gonna be like, take me please, my bad, big dog. You know what I mean? You want forgiveness. So at the same time, you got to extend that to people. And I mean, I really was checked, but this really, really, really calmed my spirit and really made me look at some stuff different, because forgiveness is hard for me. Like, I'm really that person. I'm not doing it. I mean, I don't have, like I always say, I don't wish you no hell or nothing like that. But I definitely don't wish you at all. I just don't want to be bothered. However, I thought that was forgiveness. It wasn't. That's not really forgiveness. Forgiveness really got to come from inside. It's internal. It's spiritual. It's definitely not physical. It's not nothing that you can physically do. It's always coming from inside. So for me, I want y'all to think about that, reflect, regroup on that, and really challenge yourself to forgive somebody who you really can't forgive. DM me. Let's touch and agree about it, because we really got to learn how to do that. Like, I feel so much lighter that I don't feel like punching this girl in her mouth. I'm serious. Like, and I'm glad. I felt good after speaking to her. I was glad that I was able to have that conversation. It was a meaningful, fruitful conversation, and I forgive her. I needed that. Because I don't like to have all of that kind of stuff. I don't even want to feel like that. Anger is not a good emotion for me, and nothing good comes from it. I blew a whole lot of shit up in my anger, and I'm not trying to do that no more. And I know a lot of y'all not trying to do that no more either. We growing together. We grow together, y'all. And that's all facts. No cap.